everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Adventures with Andy. In our last episode, where I used the leftover blue dye from the episode before that to dye some of the W2D4 Zebra Highland yarn, I pulled out a skein of undyed Zebra Highland wool yarn just to show you the difference between how the strands were kind of grabbing to each other undyed versus after I dyed it. So they were a little bit grabbier, but not felted. And I had already sealed up the bag that I had all that yarn in, so I didn't want to open it up again just to put that skein back in. So what you're gonna do, you get to dye some yarn. And that's what we're gonna do today. So I've got that skein of the W2D4 Zebra Highland 2-ply fingering weight yarn. It's been sitting here. Okay, technically it's been sitting in my office in this bowl of just regular tap water since, I don't know, 10 o'clock this morning. Around whatever time I finished my coffee. And I thought, I should go soak that yarn now. This is a non-superwash wool, and even though it's called zebra, it is not zebra wool. It's called zebra because it's black and white. It is Peruvian Highland wool. So today we're going to dip dye this in some Wilton's Violet. Yes, I'm back to doing some more Wilton's Violet to see if we can break Wilton's Violet on that, because I think that the broken Wilton's Violet with the little stripes of black throughout it would just look really cool. So that's what we're going to do today. I've got the crock pot here. It is warming up. I have already mixed up 1/4 teaspoon of the Wilton's Violet icing gel in 2 cups of warm water. Did that beforehand so y'all don't have to sit and watch me do it. I've not added any vinegar to the dye bath yet. All right, so let's see how warm this water is. Literally just plugged it in. Okay, literally Chad just plugged it in. It is warm, but that's just because you got it out of the tap, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Now, the last time that we broke Wilton's Violet successfully, non-capillary action, I know we did high heat and we did low acid. I can't remember if I had any acid in there or not, but because this is not a superwash wool, which is what we used last time, I am going to go ahead and put in a little bit of vinegar to start with. Not enough that it would set it. We'll have to add more later on to set it. So we're going to start with just a little bit. Also, because the only measuring spoon I happen to have over here handy is the 1/4 teaspoon. It would take a long time to do like 3 to 5 teaspoons or tablespoons. Very carefully. More carefully than that. 1. 2. More carefully. 3. So much more carefully than that. And we'll go ahead and call that 4 teaspoons. It's kind of away from me a little bit there. Jed, pop quiz. How many teaspoons are in a tablespoon?
3.
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Oh, no.
You don't. Like, we don't know these things. We aren't math people here. But it's 1 teaspoon.
3.
It's oh. How dare I question Chad and his infinite knowledge of random things. Yes, it is apparently 3 teaspoons in 1 tablespoon. So we have 1 teaspoon of vinegar in here right now, which is not very much acid at all. Now we want this hot, but Chad's over there going, stretch it. I'm like, no, I need to wrap this up so we can pause the video while this warms up. Now he's doing this. You're just making it up now, aren't you? Okay, anyway, we want the water to be hot, but not really hot. We don't want it boiling, basically. We don't even want it like simmering to where we get little bubbles breaking the surface, because this is not super washable and we don't want to risk felting it. But we do want it hot enough that we can break the Wilton's Violet on it. So I'm gonna let this warm up just a little bit because it's not quite there yet. And we'll bring the camera in a little bit closer so you can see things. All right, so the water is still, I mean, it's definitely warmer now, but it's still cool enough that I can put my finger in here comfortably. It just feels like really warm water. So we're gonna go ahead and try this. I'm gonna put the dye bath in. Nice, lovely purple. And this is going to bring our water level pretty high, but we should hopefully still have enough room that it doesn't overflow. And go ahead and wring the excess water out of this yarn. And you'll notice, even though I said wringing, I'm not actually twisting, I'm just squeezing. You never want to wring it, especially if it's not super wash. Okay, so here we go. Just gonna dip it in, pull it back out, and repeat that until it looks like the dye bath has gone mostly blue. Check and see. Oh no, we're getting to blue, but it's a cobalt blue at this point. It is not the light blue that we want. So I got a little bit ways to go. The way this works is red strikes faster than blue. So by dip dyeing like this and letting the dye bath drain off of it, the red is being able to strike, but the blue isn't. So we just keep doing this until we've gotten all of the red in the yarn and we're left with nothing but blue dye. And then we put the rest of it in there. And we're trying to keep part of it undyed at the top because that's what will end up being just blue. Go ahead and put another teaspoon of vinegar in the dye bath for me.
Okay. Doing so well right up to the end.
Yeah, you were. And then,
Splash.
yeah, it gets away from you. I thought to say Chad gets to do all of the vinegar responsibilities from now on, but
Nope.
you still did better than me, honey. Ah! Okay, I just made a horrible mess. All right, I think we're pretty much close to just blue. If I just dunk it in here at the end, we just get blue here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put this in here. And the water's still very cool. And you can see we still got blue in here. And that will meld with the pink on the parts that got more of the pink. And the blue up on that very top that has no color. And we're gonna go ahead and leave this on heat for about a half hour. Then we will unplug it, leave it overnight. It's only got 3 teaspoons, that's 1 tablespoon. 1 tablespoon of vinegar in it right now. So there is a really good possibility I will need to add some more vinegar in it to set it in the morning. But for right now, we're just gonna go with this. And here's our finished yarn. I think this turned out pretty good. We've got a nice gradient from actually a pinkish purple down here up into sort of a lilac lavender purple here, and then our blue. And honestly, I didn't think we were going to get a whole lot of blue on the yarn because it took so long to exhaust to that light blue, and I didn't have a whole lot of the undyed yarn left at that point. But yeah, we actually got a pretty decent amount on there. Even looks like a tiny little bit of breaking into green. Oh, maybe. But it turned out pretty nice. It's a very lovely colorway. Now, one thing to bear in mind is that since this is not superwash, the dye does not strike to the yarn as quickly. So it is harder to break a color on this. It got a little bit possibly lightly felted. It's definitely a lot stickier than it was. If you remember with our blue leftover dye, how I had to pull like this to get them apart, there are some places in here where I have to actually fight and tear at it, and that's what I was talking about then. When you have to do something like this, those parts got a little lightly felted. Not so bad that I can't work with it, and proof of that is our swatch. So you can see it knitted up just fine, and it's stretchy and pretty and kind of soft. I'm still getting used to the feel of the Highland wool, the Peruvian Highland wool. It's just a different feel for me. This is the cast on edge, this is the cast off edge. So you can see how the stripes all worked up in here. And a little bit different from how it worked up when I knit the swatch for our leftover blue. And this time, yeah, we actually had some of the black stripes that went all the way across. And we've got the places over here where they started here and only made it this far. And up here at the top, we got some here, but only reached back this far. I don't know, it likes to mess with me. But it turned out really pretty, and it's kind of a really interesting dual stripe sort of pattern at this gauge. It says, of course, 30 stitches by 30 rows. And I think that is just the prettiest color combination ever. I just love, especially this part right here. I'm going to try this again sometime and see if I can get at least a third of it, this blue, and see if we can get some more true purple at one point. But overall, I think this worked out great, especially for a non-superwash wool. They do have this zebra yarn in a superwash wool, and I'm definitely going to have to pick some of that up so I can try playing with breaking some Wilton's Violet on it. Anyway, I hope you had fun watching me break Wilton's Violet on this yarn. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit the like button and make sure that you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and I will see you on our next adventure.